Have you ever started explaining something to someone, something that you know really well, and about 10 seconds in, you can tell that the other person has already decided that they understand it? Not in a rude way, because these are conversations you're having with a close friend, or a coworker that you've worked with for a while, or a family member even that you haven't seen since the last holiday get together. No, you just start accelerating the story, ready to bridge over to the next topic of conversation. The nod, it starts early. They finish a sentence you weren't finished building yet. You hear, yeah, yeah, I get it. And instantly you switch versions. You shorten it. You round off the corners. You remove the part that only makes sense after the wrong attempt in the story or the awkward moment. Your three-act play becomes a one-act summary. You give them the efficient explanation, the one that resolves the story, skipping all the wrong turns and dead ends along the way, that made it an adventure rather than a random moment in time. And what's strange is they usually leave thinking that they understood it. But what actually happened is that they received a diagram instead of a memory. After a few experiences like that, you don't consciously decide to stop telling stories to that person. You just stop starting the stories entirely. I think everybody carries two versions of what they know. There's the real version, the one that includes how you learned it, who showed you, what went wrong the first time, and what you still don't fully trust about it. And then there's the version designed for easy consumption in polite conversation, the one uh, that sounds organized, clean, transferable in 30 seconds with a beginning and a middle and an end. The real version requires curiosity from the listener, but the short version requires nothing. So, naturally, the short versions of ourselves and others are what survive. Over time, the summary replaces the experience, not because we forgot, but because we adapted. Knowledge doesn't usually just disappear, it compresses and becomes concise, like copying a copy of a copy until the details smear and fade. Someone explains something carefully once, and then the next time they give the trimmed version. After that, the headline, and finally, just the conclusion. Eventually, you inherit instructions with no origin. Just do it like this. That sentence is usually the last stage before history ends. You've seen this everywhere. You've seen it at work. There's always a task everybody performs, and nobody wants to be the person who admits that they don't understand why step four exists. So nobody asks. The explanation used to take 15 minutes. Now it takes 15 seconds. Nobody notices the moment the knowledge changed from understanding to choreography. The project I'm on at work is the result of precisely this issue. Technology and engineering that was fully in use only 30 years ago has faded enough in detail that people now need to rediscover those details and specifics. Families families do this too. Every family has a story that used to take an hour to tell and now takes two sentences at holidays. And then one day it becomes a reference nobody can fully explain. Just think of a recipe from your grandmother that everyone keeps on an old recipe card with side notes and stains. But the story behind why she did this and not that is something no one remembers. These things are not lost dramatically, they're just retired socially. The fastest way to end a story isn't disagreement, it's signaling completion. The moment someone senses that you're just listening for your turn to talk instead of their thought, they begin editing in real time. They remove texture first, the color and flowery details about people and places and moments. Then the sequence goes because sequence requires time and progression. Finally, the meaning disappears, giving way to simple cause and effect. You can you can watch it happen. You ask a question, and they start answering, and halfway through they say, "But anyway." That anyway is a door closing. People don't protect stories from hostility nearly as much as they protect them from disinterest. I've noticed how often I accidentally do this. Someone begins explaining something they lived, and I jump ahead, trying to relate, trying to be helpful, uh, trying to show that I'm following, that I understand. But what I actually did was remove the need for them to even continue. And they adjust immediately. You can hear it. You get the brochure version of a place that they once walked you through slowly. And it makes me wonder how many things I believe that I've learned that I only actually learned a rough outline of. How many long explanations have I unknowingly prevented? Stories that will never get to be heard because those people are no longer in my life, because those people are no longer alive to walk me through those long, winding trails of their life, full of twists and turns, highs and lows, of mistakes and lessons learned. We imagine knowledge disappearing in dramatic fashions. Fires take out libraries, recordings are lost, books are forgotten and disappear on shelves, dusty libraries. But most knowledge fades in normal conversations between people who like each other. No conflict required, just efficiency. Most knowledge doesn't vanish when a person dies. It vanishes when they start believing the full explanation is no longer welcome or wanted. There are skills still technically alive right now that nobody alive understands completely anymore. These aren't ancient skills, they're recent ones. Things from your childhood or work methods from 20 years ago. Why something was done a certain way before software replaced thinking. The last complete explanation probably happened casually, and nobody knew that it was the last time that would be explained. A lot of memory doesn't end. It it narrows from story to summary, and then from summary to reference and highlights, and finally just to silence. Not because nobody cared, but because everyone thought they already had the point. To wrap up this thought, this really isn't just about listening better. It's about noticing how often we stand right next to something we've never heard before and unknowingly ask for the shorter version. It's not the short versions that need to be remembered. It's the long journey through our memories that we thought no one wanted. Most things don't disappear when the last person dies. They disappear the last time someone stops explaining them.